Okay, guys, the list of topics that we need to cover, which is kind of the half of Algebra 2 that you did, um, I'm going to start with variation. I know you guys did that pretty close to the end of the year, so it should be a little bit fresh. I think it was probably not the worst thing you ever felt you did, so it might kind of ease us into it. And there's no particular reason that it should be later since we don't have projects to work it into. It's kind of a standalone type of deal. Direct variation is actually Algebra 1, but I thought we could just kind of quickly go back through direct variation since it's obviously one of the building blocks of the other ones. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm starting out on this one with a word problem. Direct variation, recall, is where you have something like z equals ky. The z and the y would be the variables. K is the constant of variation. So that's the thing typically that we're trying to solve for. So in this case, we have resistance R of a copper wire varies directly as, so R, that's a crazy line, varies directly as means R equals K times. That's how that translates mathematically. And then L, so L. And so there's the formula. R equals KL. In this case, we're not yet trying to solve for K because this is just a little review, so that's just how you set it up always to start with. Now we're going to look at a problem that's actual. So there are about 200 calories in 50 grams of Swiss cheese. Willie ate 70 grams of this cheese. About how many calories were in the cheese that he ate if the number of calories, so we'll call it C, I'm just going to scribble that out and move over, C varies directly as, so calories varies directly means C equals K times the weight of the cheese. So we have C equals K times W. The first one says there are 200 calories, so I'm going to plug in 200 for C. We don't know what K is, but that's when the weight is 50 grams. So to solve for K, just like you would for anything else, I've got 50 times it. I want to untimes that. Untimesing is dividing. So we're going to divide by 50. 200 divided by 50 is 4. So K is 4. So now I'm going to rewrite the general equation just putting that in there. So the general equation then is C equals 4W. So the question is, if he eats 70 grams, so that's a weight, and in the same units as the 50, which is something you're not likely to have to worry about during courses, but you might in your life. We need them to match. So the question asks, how many calories were in the cheese that he ate? So that tells you that what you're looking for is C, which means you're not going to know C. So we might as well just write C equals 4 times 70 in this case because he ate 70 grams. So 280. And remember that the unit on that was calories. So he ate 280 calories, which is entirely too much just from eating cheese. Now we have another problem. The power P of a gear varies directly as P varies directly with, that's the same. So P equals K times the radius R. So the pertinent information here is P varies directly with R. But then when it says find the constant of proportionality, that means you're solving for K. It can have different names, but they'll all have the word constant in them. So when you see constant of proportionality, that means K. So P equals 300 when R equals 50. So just plugging those in. And then again, we've multiplied by 50. Again, we want to unmultiply by 50 or divide. So k equals 6. And that's the whole question. What is the constant? It is 6. That will bring us then to inverse variation. So, well, I was going to pause, but I guess that wasn't very long. So let's just go forward. So recall that inverse means to divide by it instead of multiplying by it. So this looks something like y equals k divided by x instead of times. You still have the k, but this time the other guy's on the bottom. K's always on the top. Y varies inversely as x, so y varies inversely means y equals k over as x, x. Y equals 8 when x is 3, so we can say 8 equals k over 3, just plugging in x and y. And in this time, I've divided by 3, so if I want to undivide, I need to multiply. So I multiply by 3, 24 is k. So then the question is, what is y? So I'm not going to know y, so I might as well write y equals when x is 10. So we want k over 10. 24 is k, we just found that, over 10. And you can write that either as 12/5 or as 2.4. Now we have a word problem for inverse. The time t, so t, required to empty a tank varies inversely as the rate r of pumping. So t varies inversely as r. If a pump can empty a tank in 2.5 hours, so t equals 2.5, at a rate of 400 gallons per minute, so r equals 400, how long will it take to empty a tank at 500 gallons per minute? So we've got 2.5 equals k over 400. So again we've divided, again we need to undivide. So multiplying. 400 times 2.5 is 1,000. And then the question is, how long will it take to empty a tank at 500 gallons per minute? So what is t? How long will it take? So t is what we don't know, and it's 500 gallons per minute. And 1,000 over 500 is 2. But that just is 2 so far. The gallons per minute matched, as they pretty much always will. 2.5 was hours, so 2 is also hours. The force, F, needed to break a board varies inversely with the length L. F varies inversely with L. F varies inversely equals K over L. If it takes 24 pounds of pressure, so 24 equals, to break a board 2 feet long, K over 2, how many pounds of pressure would it take to break a board that is 5 feet long? Again, we've got, thankfully, matching units. First, I've got to undivide by the 2. So K is 48. So how many pounds of pressure, what is F, equals 48 is K, and the board is 5 feet long. 48 divided by 5, so you can leave it like that. That's already reduced, or you can do 9.6. And the length of a violin string you notice there are no variables here. The length of a violin string, we'll say L, varies inversely as the frequency, we'll say little f, of its vibration. A violin string 14 inches long, so L equals K over, because inversely, F, 14 inches long, 14 equals, the frequency is 450, so K over 450 cycles per second. Find the frequency of a 12-inch violin string. So I need to multiply by 450. So let's see, K equals, I'm going to go off to the side 1 second. $6,300. And then what if instead of 14 we had 12? So 12 equals 6,300 divided by, we don't know, little f. Okay, so this one, you can just sort of remember the trick that if 6,300 divided by f is 12, then 6,300 divided by 12 is all f. But you can also take 2 steps here. So we can unmultiply by f to get it out from the bottom. So we have 12f equals 6,300, and then unmultiply by the 12, and you still get the result that 6,300 over 12. So f is, so that would reduce to 3,150 over 6, and this is actually going to come out entirely, so let's just bring it over here and do it. 3,150 over 6, so 5, 2, 5. So the frequency is 525, and then you need to look back at the units. Cycles per second. Cycles per second. I'm sorry that my pen looks so crazy right now. Okay. In science, one theory of life expectancy states that the lifespan of mammals varies inversely. So lifespan, we'll say L, maybe little l, so we've been using capital L for length, of mammals varies inversely to the number of heartbeats. Let's say H. You could also use N. You can use a little leprechaun, I don't care, but we just need to name them, per minute of the animal. If a gerbil's heart beats 360 times per minute, and the gerbil lives an average of 3.5 years, what would the life expectancy be of a human with an average heart rate of 72 beats per minute? And then the question is, does this seem to work for people? So lifespan varies inversely to the number of beats. A gerbil's heart beats 360 times per minute, and they live an average of 3.5 years. So lifespan is 3.5, heart rate 360, so 360, 360, K equals 1,260. So L equals 1,260 over H. And then the question is, what would the life expectancy be? So what is L? For a human with an average of 72. So 1,260 over 72. Let's see, 540, let's say 6 times. Nope, that was wrong. 7 times. So basically, at some point in our 18th year, we would die. So that doesn't seem horribly likely. Um, so probably the theory does not hold for humans, and I don't know that it holds for anything, but doesn't seem to hold for us. That brings us to combined and joint variation, which may be the sticking point that you had last year. So I'm going to stop the video and create the new video just for that.